but she's a stripper, so it's like almost set up for me to fail. You know what I mean? All it takes is for someone to just have a better job than you, which in society's eyes, that's pretty much most of the jobs that exist today. Like, yeah, you're pretty much not even taken seriously. You think strip clubs, you think people are, like, there's all kinds of things probably going on in there, probably like drugs, sex, alcohol, like all that type of thing. And like, I mean, it's not as out of control as people think that it is most of the time.
Oh man, they have different settings too.
Yeah.
Why do I want this for my birthday?
I know, right?
Cool.
It's like so innovative. I knew as soon as we hit the first wave and things were shut down, as soon as we went back the second time, it was like it was just a matter of time before that was going to be a situation again. I focused more on my online presence and just started really pushing the OnlyFans and the just pumping out online content, and just kind of became a content creator at some like I wasn't doing that before any of this happened. It happened this way because I had to adapt to the situation. I was a student when I started. Essentially, I was trying to get a big girl job, and you know, I was one of those kids who was like, yeah, I'm only gonna do it for a year, and then
My name's Casey. Right now I'm a student full-time, but in my side work I've been doing sex work since I was 19 years old, so I'm 24 now. It's been quite a few years. I remember being 19 and just not having any money at all, and I was so broke, and like I remember walking home. It was like an hour and a half walk because I didn't have $3.25 to get on the bus, and I was like, this is absurd. Like, men are sexualizing the hell out of me at 16 years old. Why don't I at least profit off of it? Thankfully, being a dancer is not something that you need experience for. So I kind of just like walked into the shadiest nightclub I could find. They hired me on the spot. I think I made like within my first days, probably like $2,400. It seems like it's easy money. It's really not. Like, it's very devastating. You're constantly getting rejected. And you know, like, it's true, it does take only one person to really make your night, but it can be extremely taxing and like on your emotional well-being. And if you, let's say, have like a week in a row that you don't make money while you're not eating for the next week, like it's pretty rough.
like people might tell a sex worker, well, why don't you go do something else? And it's like, well, what else is there to do? It was easy to get into, hard to get out. Like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, oh, well, all of the issues that I may have had with any sort of negative job experience that I've had, like administratively or just with time management and all of these other factors that make going to work difficult, just like right out the window, because I go to work when I want to, I set my own hours, and I'm making more than the average person. So it's just like, it's hard to just not do it, in the sense, in exchange for a job that I hate.
My name is Lady Pim. I'm a professional dominatrix. I think I've always just held a big space for sexuality in my life. Like, it's always been a really big part of my life, something that I hold a lot of importance in. So it was really natural for me to kind of pursue this type of field and make it more than just a thing I do in my bedroom, and kind of integrate it more deeply in my identity in my life. My mom is like my biggest fan. She's all over my work Twitter, which is hilarious. Commenting, like just openly commenting on like me, pictures of me in a strap on. She's like, "You look so beautiful." I'm like, "Oh my God, how embarrassing." A lot of people approach domination, kink, BDSM, their own specific fetishes. Like they can approach them in a lot of different ways. But for sure, the work that I do has the potential to be like life-changing, healing, cathartic. So just the fact that you are able to be your true self, true authentic self in a session, that can mean your gender, your orientation, your kinky self, any of those things. And to have another person be there in the room with you, validating you and encouraging you to express yourself authentically, can be just like massively life-changing for people.
When I started sex work, I realized almost everyone was disabled. A lot of times people with chronic illnesses too, similar situations to mine where they had some kind of traditional job and then got too sick to work. Other people have different stories, but I was meeting a lot of people in that same situation. And so I started to look into it, and there really wasn't research on disability in sex work because of a lot of reasons, because of ableism and discrimination in the workforce. My name is Katie Tastrom, but I'm a sex worker under the name Katie Milford. I'm also a writer. I was a lawyer actually, and I'm still technically a lawyer. I'm letting my bar stuff lapse, but my second year of law school, I got sick with autoimmune issues, and I managed to finish law school and work a little bit, but then after working for a couple years, I got too sick to work a traditional job. So I started doing sex work because getting disability takes years. I have a partner and we have 4 kids, and he has a job, but 4 kids is a lot of kids. Disability benefits are so small, and they're very hard to get. So that leaves a lot of people, disabled people, kind of in situations like mine where you need money and you don't really have many other options. The work itself I knew would be a good fit. I've always known it'd be a good fit, but that's what's always kept me from it is the stigma and just, the criminalization and the danger that the criminalization brings.
I have a very safe setup for in-person work, but you can't deny that there's always an element of it potentially being a dangerous situation. And I don't think it's that much different than any marginalized individual being in a room with somebody who is bigger, stronger, and, probably a cis man. That their word is always going to be taken over yours, over a sex worker's word, right?
I called the police once because there was a man who was stalking me for a couple weeks, and I saw him in front of my house waiting for me to come out. And the police basically completely dismissed me and was like, "Well, where do you work?" And as soon as I told them that I was a dancer, it was like help was completely out of the question. They're like, "Well, you should expect these kinds of things to happen."
Like when I had my son, the father left when I was 2 months pregnant. When I put in the motion, like the support, like just put in a motion for a little bit of support. There's certain lawyers that won't even touch legal aid cases. I found one that touches those type of cases, but she basically just straight up said to me, "Well, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna take this to court, and he's just gonna say it's not his, and they're just gonna believe him because you're a stripper."
We don't necessarily want the government to have any hand in how we operate. Trust us, we've been operating. We know how to do sex work. It's literally the oldest profession. Like, we don't need anybody's help to help regulate what sex workers are doing. A lot of the laws that make sex work both illegal on one end and then taboo on the other put us in dangerous situations because it's driving our industry underground, right? Where we can't seek help or support when we need it. So just straight up, we need it to be decriminalized.
Sex work needs to be decriminalized everywhere completely. So that means no penalties at all for both sex workers and clients of sex workers, because if the clients are penalized, then the sex workers are penalized.
When there's statistically no evidence that a strip club will have more cases than COVID, they're not giving dances. They're sitting around on individual tables that are socially distanced and constantly wiped down, and there's so many measures that have been put in place by these bars that spent thousands of dollars trying to comply with city regulations for COVID, who they're being shut down for no other reason than they have sex workers there, they have strippers there, and nobody likes strippers. They have this bill pretty much like in some terms legalizing sex work, which is all fine and dandy if it wasn't the most fake thing. It protects the sex worker, but it doesn't protect the person who's purchasing the service. A sex worker will be punished either way. They will find something to punish her for, 100%. Like, a sex worker can't call the police ever. And a lot of the time they do, like, they're looking for someone to charge. So if the John isn't there anymore, like the client, then they're gonna have to find something to charge her with. Like, oh, you have money that you never taxed, or it's really like the police think that they're trying to help, for sure. And I don't think that there's a lot of people that actually understand that bill and that law. Like, it's not black and white, it's gray. It's a very gray bill.
It's really hard to like prove your innocence if something happens to you. Like, say for example, if you're assaulted or anything along those lines. If you're a sex worker, like, good luck taking somebody to court for rape. Like, good luck. If you're trying to like win a custody battle, like, good luck with that. Like, you know what I mean? All it takes is for someone to just have a better job than you, which in society's eyes, that's pretty much most of the jobs that exist today. Like, so it's like, yeah, like, you're pretty much not even taken seriously in court.
Everyone can amplify the voices of sex workers, paying attention to the people that you're voting for, paying attention to their views on sex work and sex workers, for sure. No media on sex work should be created without sex workers writing it or being involved in it, consulting in it, starring in it, for instance. And then even smaller ways, anytime anyone just in your personal life, you know, makes a joke about hookers and whores, you can say, hey, that's really harmful, toxic language to use, harmful behavior. They're called sex workers and they're lovely people. So stop with that bullshit.